us to change what leadership looks like, to change, because when you change what that looks like, when you have higher level people thinking, right, and moving to positions of power and influence, that's how you change things. And that's how we're going to change and start thinking like the way I think human beings should be thinking, and stop thinking less about, no, we're always going to be a little selfish and do things. What I'm looking at is bigger problems. It's like less wars, less famine. Let's solve some of these fucking problems we have, like hunger, and oh, by the way, the shortage of water that's going to happen here in the next couple of decades, and people start mass migrating. All these problems that we have on Earth and that are out there, we need to start working on those. And it takes people with creativity and imagination, and people that can get around these fucking roadblocks. And people, this is why I'm here, and this is why I want to influence and create more people like me.
How do you do that, though?
By getting out there and influencing the way I'm influencing. And I'm figuring out as I go. I don't have the solution now, but I do know it's a big problem, and I want to solve that problem. And that's why I want to get in front of people who are creatives, who are changing worlds and changing things in their various forms: music, art, entrepreneurship, inventors, people who are looking forward and don't like seeing things the way they are, and they want to create something new or innovate on something. Those are the people I want to get in front of, because the more of those I can create or influence or fucking motivate, inspire, the better off we'll all be. Because you get more and more of those people out there influencing more of those people in positions of leadership, and they're thinking big picture, outside the matrix and away from the old world system. Away from the old world system.
What does that look like?
That looks like Star Trek. That looks like, I don't want to say Star Wars, because when I say Star Trek, I mean like human beings traveling the galaxy, and we've gotten away from, money is, that's going to take a long time, money as the primary motivation, and it's all about the exploration of different galaxies. When I say that, so more in my lifetime, actually I don't even have to look my time, I can look in the future and just set the conditions now. I want to break us out of this old world system. That is the old world. The world in which we live in now, in which wars and pettiness and bickering and droughts and famine and all this other bullshit, and not even thinking about the fucking meteor is going to hit us. This is old world thoughts. We need to elevate to a new world, meaning a new human beings, different kind of thinking, and elevate our thinking into our fullest potential. Yeah, I need to figure out what that looks like. I say Star Trek world, but because these ideas are now burning and it's fresh, what does the new world look like? I want to break us out of this old world system that we've been living in since the dawn of age. Old world system.
You seem to believe that human beings possess the ability to transcend, to ascend. You believe in your power as a change agent, a creative change agent, to turn the tide. I believe human beings are fundamentally selfish.
I believe the rules do not apply to me.
I think humans are fundamentally selfish, and they find comfort in their mess.
I believe the rules do not apply to me.
And they may not, but there are gazillions of other humans that live on this planet.
They live in the old world.
How do you propose, as a single entity, to somehow motivate?
Oh, I can't do it as a single entity. There's got to be thousands of us.
What does that look like, change agent?
We'll figure it out.
Is that the connection that you're seeking?
Yeah, it's what I've been talking about on the fringes, but as I'm sitting here talking about it, I want to destroy this old world and bring in a new world in which human beings do what we have the potential to do.
Which is what?
Which is change things, which is think to a higher level and solve problems on a grand scale. Famine, drought, interplanetary travel. All these things we are potential of to create great art, like things that will fucking wow you, great music.
What makes you think we don't already know how to do it?
We're not doing it. We're not doing it on a grand scale. Actually, we are doing it. It's just not at the level I think we could potentially be doing it.
Have you considered the fact that we can do some of these things, that because we're so selfish, we don't want to share with the larger world?
No, I do not. Because when I went to Worlds, I met amazing people out there who created water companies, and they're sending that water to Africa. Like dudes, not like me, that created a whole fucking company. Like, I want to solve the problem of drought, and I want to help people in different parts of the world have clean drinking water, so they're not drinking out of fucking puddles and getting cholera and all this other stuff that comes when you drink bad water. And they're doing it. I met amazing people. This is what I'm talking about.
But how do you move away from that fundamental desire in a human being to look out for themselves? Because they're not doing that for free.
I can't change everybody.
How do we move beyond that fundamental desire, that fundamental thing that says, look out for me and mine?
People are always going to do that. Even what I'm doing, I want to do it and get, I don't want to say profit, to get a living from it so I can sustain myself and my family. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's selfish. People are always going to look out for them and their families first. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should be taking care of your family.
Absolutely.
You should be taking care of yourself. But I also know there are a lot of human beings out there that want to change things and want to do different and do more. Those are the people I'm talking to. I can't change every person, but I can touch the right people to make changes around them. And that's not my ministry. Never been my ministry to touch every person.
I'm not suggesting
so
that.
When you say to me, and you say how you change that fundamental, really, I'm not really talking to those people. Not yet. I'm talking to the people in my audience, my people that the people that I market to, that I'm talking to. My audience are people who want to change their lives and change the lives of the people around them, the people that want more and that see more.
Do you think that they really understand that, though?
The ones that are awakening?
Do you think they really understand the sacrifice that comes along with that?
No, but that's why I'm here, to tell them and talk them through it, because I didn't know. No one guided me, but I did see other folks that were doing the same thing I'm doing before me, doing the same thing. The Tom Bilyeu, the Gary Vaynerchuk, people that started on a lower level and they were coming up. And I'm doing something similar. That's why I'm here. I want to help people as they're coming into this awakening of what it's going to take and what I'm going through and the things I need to do. So
you believe that human beings are amazing enough to propagate the species and take it to other planets. You believe that we should be sustained and we should be looking for ways to ensure our survival beyond the end of this earth, the end of the earth, which will ultimately end in part by our hands. And we should go to other planets and somehow be better.
I think we should stop the ending of this earth now. It's not just other planets, it's here too. I just started talking about that because I was thinking about space. But I am also talking about here to end hunger, to end drought, or improve upon those conditions, because at some point borders will disappear. The rate we're going now, they're going to disappear in a bad way as mass migration, because we're already seeing this in Africa and the Middle East, as drought and lack of resources is pushing people, mass exodus to different countries, putting pressure on those governments, it's all pressure. And if we can do things to kind of prevent that, it's going to take work. It's not going to be easy, but it has to be done. I want this world a better place for my kids and my future generation. I don't want them to get into inheriting a pessimistic world and, hey, you guys saw this as a problem, why didn't you at least try to do something about it? I'd rather try and fail than not try at all.
What's the difference, though, in the outcome? If we try and fail or not try at all and still fail?
Because I gave it an effort. To sit here and see the problems that are coming and do nothing because, people won't change, to me, that is a horrible way to look at things and a horrible way to feel for me, because I'm like, I see these problems, I know they're problems, but I won't do anything about it, and I have the ability to do things about it. And let's take it on a smaller scale. I have the ability, I can see generations ahead. Like, hey, why didn't you, let's start when I was in high school. Let's say I had children when I was in high school, right after I came out of high school, married a girl I was so in love with, and who turned out to be a not good person, and had kids with her, and never went to college, never did any of the things that I'm doing now, and I just worked in a factory like everybody else in my town, because I see my brother and sister going through this, more so my sister, When the factory lays people off, or they really cut hours, and now you have forced to go to school at a later age, but you've already had kids. And so there's generational wealth that could have been sustained or gotten if you had started on a different path. So take that on a grander scale. I'm just saying, on a smaller scale, looking at me, I didn't do that. I went to college, I got a degree, and I will hopefully meet someone who has a degree, and not hopefully, I will, and just start to break out of poverty, which I'm not in it now, but as we go generation to generation, we start adding to what we had before. So my next generation will start off in a leg ahead than what I had. I started out a leg from my father. My father always said, always be better. He always reinforced that message, be better than me. I want you to be better than me. We came out of abject poverty. I'm talking white shit on the edges of the windows, on the floor, and it was those stuff to keep out roaches. That's on the floor, so you have to be careful where you play at, because that shit was down there. Or nails in the windowsill to keep people from breaking in. These are the things we had to do.
But what about the systems that are put into place to perpetuate poverty, even though those systems don't look the same as they once did?
The system in place for my father was get a job, go to the army, get a job, or go to the army or go to school. He went to the army, he got a job. Yeah, there were systems in place, but there are also ways to get out of those systems. Like I could have sat back and said, "Oh, there's the man's holding me down in the system." No, the truth of the matter is, I couldn't afford to go to college. I had to make a sacrifice, which is why I don't have college debt now, because I just chose a different route. I decided to go to the army, get the money for school, and in the midst of that, I got a scholarship, and then went to school. Still had the money for college and used some of that as a sacrifice because I wanted a better life. My father charged me with being better than him, and if God willing I have kids, I'm going to charge them the same thing. You need to be better than me. It is on you to take it to the next level. I took us here. It is on you to take it to the next level, because the generation, we are the ancestors now. So all these generations that are, you can't see it physically, but if you think about it, this Charles Bell, 6 or 8 Charles Bells later, what does that Charles Bell look like? If he does what he's supposed to do, and we're keeping this thing going, and we're increasing every generation, they should be fucking billionaires, potentially. Billionaires, millionaires. As each generation is building up on the next, I'm setting the bar really high. So the next generation, the minimum they have to do the kind of things I did, or this, and then take it to the next level. My dad had a high school degree. He was a nurse's aide. He took bodies down to the morgue. He cleaned up people, when they defecated on themselves and they were sick, and he had to work for these horrible nurses. I'll argue probably with racist nurses. And so they always treated nurses' aides like, garbage. Whenever Dana talks to me about some of these things, she's like, no, I treat the nurses' aide and the staff well. That's why they're always looking out. Plus, she's like, they're black, so they're always looking out for me, And I look at that. Whenever I hear stories like that, I always think of, this is my dad and my mom, because she worked like that too. Those people are my people, and that's how my people, I would want them to be treated. So he had a high school diploma, I have a master's. So hopefully the next generation takes it, and we got doctors and lawyers. My kids are doctors and lawyers, or whatever other profession that takes them further. Or they're fucking entrepreneurs on day one, and they're out there making a difference. Yeah.